Welcome back to DS Trucks. In today's video, we are going to be strobing out the headlights on our 23 F450. This is going to be a pretty cool video because we're going to be using the OEM lights in order to make our truck a lot more visible. So our C-rings and our amber lights and our headlights are going to strobe with the flip of an upfitter switch. So here is a look at the kit from Limitless Autoworks. That is who we went with. I believe this is probably the only way to do this where the vehicle can be used at any speed and all the lights can strobe, the OEM lights. This is a look at the modules as they're zip tied together, and basically, like I said, no cutting of the harness. You're going to gain access to the headlights. You unplug the headlight. This is an OEM plug. It goes right into the headlight, or right into the plug that would have went into the headlight, and then this now goes into the headlight and everything will strobe. And this kit, although we're just doing the headlights today, the same kind of a thing can be done with the tail lights, with the mirror lights, and obviously the headlights, because that's what we're doing today. But essentially, almost any light on the truck can be strobed with a module from Limitless Autoworks. So if you want to strobe your dually lights or your marker lights on top, that can be done. The mirrors, the headlights, the tail lights. So there's a whole lot that can be done. But let's go ahead and talk about how we're going to do this. So in order to gain access to the headlights, we're not going to remove the headlights or anything like that. The easiest way is to access them through the fender liners. So in this video, we're going to take off the fender liners, and we're going to be looking at everything that those are protecting, and in doing so we'll be able to tie into our upfitter switches, and we'll be able to plug into our headlights, and that makes the install quite simple compared to some of the other solutions. Like mounting flush mount lights all over your truck is honestly a lot more work than just doing this. I went ahead and removed both front tires because I'm due for a tire rotation anyway. By no means is this a necessary step to get the liners off. It will make it a little bit easier, and like I said, I'm due for a rotation from left to right anyway, so I might as well just have them off. But let's go ahead and pop off these fender liners. I've been told that you can pop off the fender liners without taking off the flares, so I might try it and see if I can do it. Otherwise, the flares will be coming off. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. Okay, two hands now. This is the Limitless plug, headlight, and now this goes into the headlight, like so. Maybe I'll hit the headlight first. Kind of a tight spot. Big harness in the way. Okay, headlight, and then the old headlight plug goes right into the new Limitless plug. Click. Everything clicked in there, and there needs to be enough room for this to tuck away so it's out of the way. And then there was a push pin here for this big harness. Push that back in there. Now the hardest part is going to be to route this cord to the other side. That's literally the hardest part. So let me figure out how to do that real quick. First thing that comes to mind is just drop it through here. Explore that possibility. Being I'm going to be routing this all throughout the truck, I covered it up with some tape. I don't want to get dirt in the connectors. Alright, so I'm under the truck on the creeper. Let's see if I can't figure out how I want to route this plug to get to the other headlight. If I can't just fit through this way, and this way, pull through. I'm going to go above the radiator hose here. You can see that. It's kind of hard to see, I know. Some light over here a little better. All right, so above this radiator hose, I think, because there's an existing harness there coming through. Up and above, pretty easy. I thought this was gonna be difficult, and that's not too difficult. I would say this isn't the hardest part then. Maybe the hardest part is literally the process of removing, there she is. My light moved. The hardest part is the process of removing the fender liners, in my opinion. And just like that, it's positioned. Now, over here, you can see how that is gonna look. There's the wire right there. Super slick and easy. I just gotta figure out where it just needs to be grounded, so I'm guessing anywhere I can reach it to, that's gonna make a good ground for this ground wire. We'll figure that out in a second. All right, now for our passenger side light connection. This one's a little bit higher up. There's the plug. There you have it. That easy. This gets tucked up nice and neat away. Now I have to just secure all this wire and zip tie it up so it's not free and loose and hanging. So I realized in filming this I was making one error. I had the limitless module on the driver's side, and you want to actually put their modules on the passenger side. Don't make that mistake. I just did, and I couldn't figure out why there was nowhere to tie up the ground, but it makes sense because your upfitter switches on the 23 and 20 from 20 to 24 or current model is on the passenger side, so it makes sense. So I've got this now. I moved everything around off camera, but definitely start on the passenger side. My ground is installed. One thing to watch out for with the ground, when I read the instructions, is right there by the headlight. And when you take that ground screw off, it's right here. If you can see that, it's a wire in the way. It's right there, and it's really close to this headlight, so it runs into it. So you need to literally use a wrench and painstakingly take it off so it doesn't run right into. If you put any wrench on that ground strap, it's gonna run right into the headlight and be an issue. And I got jammed up a little. I had to spit on that thing to get it out, and it wasn't a good situation. So be wary of that if you're doing this. But nonetheless, I got everything kind of positioned now. I ran the wire right across the radiator, as you saw, just I was doing it from the wrong side. And I'm actually about to make the connection to the upfitter switches, so let's do that real fast. I'm actually gonna put a little extension wire on mine because I don't have everything that I want on here yet. And I think I'm gonna add another kit here once I get some more funds. Nonetheless, if I just attach it, then I'm gonna have to maybe add more later. So that's a real quick connection there. It's important to remember to put your butt connectors on before you make your connection. And we are gonna go ahead and connect to our number 6 switch, which is gonna give us the ability to power up with number 6. Kind of an awkward spot, but not the end of the world. So let's give it a little pull test. Hopefully you can see that. That looks pretty good. Unfortunately, my shrink tubing slipped off of there. Where did it go? Oh, but that's okay because this end isn't secured yet, so slide it right back up and we can shrink tube that. My go-to is the Dremel. My go-to is the Dremel. Slide it on up there and shrink it away. Turn this up a little. Very nice shrink tubing from Limitless. It is marine grade. So shrink tube that real good. This gives me a little bit of a loop to work with. For some reason I gotta snip some of this off, it's not a problem. Versus this little piece of wire that the factory gives you is straight up too short. Okay, now I can just take this. I don't need all this length. I can downsize that a little. And I can strip that. And I believe the reds go, but I'll double check the instructions. So I got the system up and running. I got my red wires connected. I got the blue wires connected. And I'm actually just gonna run a ground. This is a signal change wire. I'm just gonna run it up here for now so I can mess with it later. And essentially just touching that to the ground will change my pattern because it's on the blue. So that is just there for now so that I can mess with the pattern. Just a 1 second touch. And I'm actually just gonna order a momentary button on Amazon so that I can change the pattern as needed or as much as I want. Maybe I'll just put the switch under the hood, or I can use a pass-through wire and put a switch under the dash. But for these, I just connected them like this. I'm just gonna put these together like so, and I'm gonna tape over this before I put the fender liner back on. Let me do that real quick off camera. And just like that, it's just quickly covered up so it's not, you know, kind of exposed. And this, like I say, I'm gonna order a momentary button. Maybe I can just leave it under here and pop the hood and hit it, or maybe I can put it in a glove box and use a pass-through wire. I don't know. But this has to hurry up and get done because I got to get out of here. I'm running out of time. So that's going to get zip tied up right there. And I'm going to have to go ahead and zip tie these wires. Let me hurry up and do that off camera. And I'll show you the finished product. Okay, let's take a look at the overall install before I wrap things up. So you can cover everything up and you can't see it. So some of the pitfalls as well. Make sure to read the instructions and install the module on the passenger side first. So this goes on the passenger side, the module, the Limitless module, which is right there, zip tied to the harness. We ran an extra lead of wire just so it could be a little longer. We could put our fuse, I think Limitless calls for a 10 amp fuse going to the module, and we have that in place. Now you also route the wire. As you can see, it goes down the radiator. When you do the ground strap, one of the challenges is that on the 23s, at least, I don't know if the 22s are the same way, but that little nut right there, or bolt, that little bolt right there is problematic. It hits the headlight housing, so be aware of that. Don't use a ratcheting wrench or a socket. You gotta use a wrench, and that bolt that bolt literally touches the light and it barely can fit out of there without hitting the lights, so be aware of that. This wire here is zip tied to our main harness right up under the radiator. That's a little tricky to do as well. I really had to just shove both my hands up in there in order to get any zip ties in there. I'll take you underneath and show you that. Okay, so way up in there you can see there's a zip tie right there. Right there. Hard to see, hard to reach up in there and do. I really had to just shove my hands up in here and feel around and kind of zip tie it, because I didn't want this wire to be loose back there. So they're zip tied up, just a few zip ties. And then coming over to the passenger side, or the driver's side, you can see that we are zip tied up to our main harness right here. I still need to cut that one. And I'm probably gonna go ahead and maybe zip tie this plug. I don't want it to be rattling, so maybe I'll zip tie the plug as well, just to be safe. But yeah, that pretty much concludes it. I'm gonna put the fender liners back on off camera. I have videos on how to install fender liners, how to remove them. Fender flares, if you want to take those off to make the fender liners a little bit easier, it's definitely something that can be done. But overall, what do you guys think about this 23 F450 with the strobing headlights now? Remember, with limitless, you can strobe any lights, mirrors, the mirror spotlights, the fog lights, the third cab lights on top can be strobed as well, or the high marker lights can be strobed as well. The fender flare lights and the tail lights can be fully strobed. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap up the video. Comment below. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Over and out.